Hello, 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 and welcome to another one of these fun little Friday night get-togethers. And I'm going to do something a little bit different on this one. I'm going to do one of these ranking things that you seem to all like and ask for a lot. What can I rank? I've ranked the Wildheart albums, I've ranked the solo albums. What else can I rank? And I figured, why not rank the best horror films of the 21st century, or my favourite horror films of the 21st century. And it's a weird one because in that there's certain films that are classed as horror that, like Shaun of the Dead, for example, that I love, but I wouldn't put it in my list of horror films. But Cloverfield, I would and have, and which is technically science fiction, but it's got a monster, and monsters are, as far as I'm concerned, horror. I'm a 70s kid, and monsters were very popular in the 60s and 70s. I'm going to dive straight in with probably the most controversial film on this list, and it is a Serbian movie from 2010. A Serbian film, and is kind of justifiably vilified by people because it involves violence towards children, and in this case, extreme violence. It pushes every button that a liberal would be affected and triggered by. So it's a funny film to start with, but as far as full-blown horror, as far as something that is horrific, see, a lot of these films on this list are going to be, oh, the glasses, what do I do with the glasses? A lot of these films on this list are not fun. I don't see horror films as having to be fun. I don't see where fun belongs in horror. I think it's supposed to take you into a world where, like a roller coaster ride, where you just think, what the fuck, this is, I feel terrible. And then by the end of the film, you leave, you go on your happy, merry way, and you realise you've just been in the hands of professionals. And the black sands of time are needed for this one because I'm by myself today, so I'm going to need someone to tell me what time it is. But yeah, I like the idea of going to the cinema and a horror film takes you to this really, really, challenging place and doesn't let up until you go home. And that was what you spent your money on. And the fact that horror films that offer a comfort and humour. Oh, I don't get it. I don't get how horror films are supposed to, pat you on the hand. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. At the end, they know it's okay because they got through alive and no one really died. And that, to me, is the whole point of horror. That's why Serbian film is on my list. If you don't know anything about the Serbian film, it is repulsive, controversial, and universally hated. And for me, that's a job done. It involves an agent porn star who agrees to take part in a top secret art film, which turns out to be snuff movie, but worse than a snuff movie, way worse than a snuff movie. And it's the weird thing about a Serbian film is it's really well filmed. The cinematography is fantastic. The acting is universally great throughout. But it's dark. There's no getting away from the fact it's a sick puppy. And if you're easily offended, avoid at all costs. And if you're not easily offended and you like it a little bit hardcore, still approach with caution. It's best not to know too much about a lot of these films, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but I will give you my favourite bit. And the best bit of a Serbian film is death by erection. And it's the main character has to kill this guy, and the guy that he's trying to. There are no heroes. Everyone's a villain. Well, apart from a couple of people, but pretty much everyone's a bad guy in this movie. So, there's no heroes capturing the bad guy and killing them. So this is our protagonist, who is horrible, vile person who deserves to be killed. So let me just preface my favourite bit of the movie with that. He dies by grabbing hold of his head and sticking his erect penis into his eyeball and shoving it right through his eye socket into his brain. That's the kind of list that you're up for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that this is going to tickle some of your ivories. I'm probably going to put a lot of people off, but if I was going to rank anything, I'd rank my favourite movies of this decade. And there's a lot of great films. Really, really good century so far. It's not a decade, is it? 25 years in. Jesus Christ, Ginger. My head is in bits today, by the way. There's a lot of stuff going on and all of it needs attention and my head is just all over the place. But I'm in a good place. I've got my cup of tea here. We're in. Boom. Number 19. It's a French gore classic. Now, I will say the first 10 of these are all kind of number 11. Does that make sense? I like them all. It's not until the top 10 where I actually have preferences, but the first 10 of these movies could all just be interchangeable, really. I've just put them in this order because I want to. And French gore classic from 2007, Inside, is my number 19. And it really is a gore masterpiece. I mean, there was a point where the French took over from the Japanese as the leading purveyors of hardcore horror, and the French just get it right. I mean, when they go violent, their violence is really effective. This movie should be avoided by anyone who's pregnant and probably approach with caution anyone who's thinking of having kids. It's about a baby. And it's not very pretty. It's actually about a pregnant woman who's tormented by another woman played by Beatrice Dahl. If anyone remembers her from the 80s, what movie was she in? A very striking looking woman. Beatrice Dahl has broken into this pregnant woman's house and she wants her baby. Now, all is revealed at the end, and there's an amazing reveal at the end of this movie that completely turns it around. But for the duration of the film, you haven't got a fucking clue what's going on, or even if you should be watching. And there's brilliant set pieces, gore set pieces, practical effects as well, apart from some really shit digital effects of the baby inside the womb, which is just, avoid digital effects. It just ages movies so bad. But the practical effects still stand up. Some amazing neck squirting. A policeman's face gets shot in half, and the blood's good. Blood's nice and deep, dark red, and you think that the movie's going to kind of back off the way movies are supposed to, but this one doesn't. It does what you don't want it to do. Again, that's a warning as well as a recommendation. And the best bit has got to be that ending. You don't expect it, you're half dreading it, and then it happens. And you're just like, fucking hell. Jesus Christ. It's, it goes there. And all the more memorable for it. I can't help but think. At number 18 on my list is Kill List from 2011. Now, Kill List, I don't know many people who saw Kill List. It was one of those films that was just kind of released quickly. It's got, who's in it again? I'm trying to be professional here by having some notes. Oh yeah, Neil Maskell and Michael Smiley, neither of which his names stick with me that much, but they're both very, very memorable faces. You've seen these guys in a lot of movies, and they're the kind of actors that if they're in the film, they make the movie better. It's largely improvised as well, which is really weird because it's really engaging. So you got to imagine that the cast get on really well, and the story is around ex-soldiers who've turned hitmen. One guy wants to get away from it and wants to retire, and his friend, ex-squaddy who he served with, pulls him in for one last hit job, and he's persuaded to go along there, and the whole thing turns from being just a standard get him and finish him off to a lot of pagan weirdness, and it goes real dark folk horror, which, as you can see by a lot of these movies on this list, I'm really into dark folk pagan-y kind of horror. There's a sense of dread and all the way through, and the acting is brilliant. It's really absorbent, and it's a joy to just sit back and watch this cast just enjoying the scene. The interaction is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. There's one brilliant bit where they're both getting drunk, and you get the feeling that they probably are having a good drink, getting method as fuck, and they're having an argument, and one of them just slaps the other guy, and the other guy turns around and goes, "Oh, you cheeky cunt!" And it's just, it's stuff like that. Just it pulls it out of being just a film to being an experience. But it does get really, really dark. And the best bit, it ramps up the tension right until the end, and it gets. I want to watch this film again. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a great film. Starts off really amazing, good hard drama, and then just goes weirder and weirder and weirder until by the end. I mean, if you watch the end first, I wonder what you would make of this fucking film, because it really is a film in two parts. But it ramps up when they've got an assignment to take someone out, and when they're taking people out, they say thank you, and that gives you an idea of like what's going on here. What? Why are they thanking someone for killing them? But there's an attack in the kitchen that you do not see coming. It goes from nothing to fuck me. How did they do that? And because it's quite a budget film, you don't expect the effects to be so convincing, which makes them more convincing, I think. But it's a fantastic piece, and it really will give you a good clip round the face when you see that one. And number 17 on my list is Terrified from 2017. Argentinian director Demian Rugna. This is his second film in this list, but it was the first film I saw by him. And what he does is he takes everything you know about horror and then just scraps it and gives you loads of new tropes, new riffs, new things that you've never seen anyone do before. And this film has got some such creepy fucking. It gets really under your skin and stays with you. That's the thing about this guy, Demian Rugna's movies. It stays under your skin. Long after you've seen the movie, you'll be thinking about these scenes. The film is about the paranormal goings-on in a Buenos Aires neighborhood, and there's loads of like weird things going on. There's a bit where there's a guy hearing like slight banging against the wall, and he thinks it's his neighbour. And he goes, listen, it's not his neighbour, and he keeps hearing this banging against the wall, and he's going around his apartment and thinking, hang on a second, that's coming from inside the apartment. He's going through the rooms, and he goes, it's in the bathroom. And he goes into the bathroom, and his girlfriend is being propped up in the air and just being dragged across the bathroom, smashing into one tiled wall and into the other tiled wall. And it's done in such a languid, luxurious kind of no hurry fashion like that. Oh, it's so good. But this guy, Demian Rugna, the director, really does invent new ways to creep you out. There's a part where the dead kid turns up sitting at a kitchen table, a dead kid's corpse at the kitchen table. It's not moving, it's not doing anything. And then the guy turns around to phone the authorities, and a glass of milk that's next to the kid falls over, and he looks over and the kid's moved just a tiny little bit. But the kid's dead. What the fuck's he doing in the kitchen? It's honestly, it's his movies, it can't be described. The way that he sets up his scenes, they're so unique, you have to experience it yourself. But the best bit is just, again, just getting all the things that creep people out and putting them all in one thing. There's this thing. It's a human, it's a person, but it's just really tall and really weird, and it hides under the bed. And there's this one bit where it gets from under the bed and then stands up, looks over this sleeping person. This is all on like CCTV. Looks over at the sleeping person and then goes into the closet. So the thing that hides under the bed also lives in the closet. Brilliant stuff. That's my number 17, Terrified by Demian Rugna. The most exciting director, I think, currently working in horror. I will put my hat on that hill and die on that hat. Number 16. Well, I know I've said I'm going to make a top 20 list, and it's almost a top 20 list. But then I was compiling the list and thinking, well, there's other movies in there that I haven't put in that I like. And that one is a bit like that one. And so some of them I've just chucked 2 in instead of 1. Just between me and you. Don't tell anyone. Joint number 16, The Hallow from 2015, Digging Up the Marrow from 2014. I think the reason why these two movies remind me of each other is because they probably came out roughly around the same time. It was probably a time where there was a few months of horror drought, and then 2 masterpieces hit at the same time, and they're both in their own right masterpieces. The Hallow is directed by my friend Corin Hardy, who did The Nun, and he's done loads of movies now. He did some big movie, the Crow remake or something. It was one of them. Look 'em up on IMDb. IMDb, rather. IMDb. This is a thing that I use a lot when I'm looking for movies to find out. I love um, reviews. I love if I get into a movie, I want to see what everyone else thinks of it, and I love the fact that I like people hating stuff that I like, and and vice versa. But anyway, this Corin Hardy is an old friend of mine, and he's just done brilliant. He started out as a little fella, as we all do, and just kept making movies, and just eventually got a break, and his brilliance was seen and appreciated by Hollywood itself. And the Hallow is another folk horror set in Ireland. That's me. Folk horror, pagan, set in Ireland. I'm in. It's hard to fuck with that for me. As long as you don't just include a load of CGI, you've got me. I'm a fan of your movie. So this one is demonic creatures that live in the woods, and they steal babies. And there's an out-of-town couple moved in to the area, and they have a baby. And the creatures in the woods want the baby. And it's one of those, it's just fun. It's just these things. The best bit of this movie is when the creatures in the woods reveal themselves, and they look like they come from the woods. They look like they're as old as the woods themselves, and they've just got that vibe about them. It's a great cast. It's a fucking fantastic story. Great build up. Proper spit and sawdust horror. It fucking gets exciting, and I'll leave it up there. But the best bit is when the monsters reveal themselves. And I would say the best bit in Digging the Marrow is where the monsters reveal themselves. Digging the Marrow is the director of Digging the Marrow, Adam Green, plays himself in a mock doc, which is short for documentary. And this fella who I've recognised from somewhere. I don't watch a lot of movies, but I think he's in Twin Peaks or something like that. But he contacts Adam Green to tell him that monsters exist. Adam Green's obviously cynical to the point of finding this guy ridiculous. But he says, I can prove it. Come with me to this place called the Marrow, and I can prove it. And he goes down there, and sure enough, these monsters come out of this hole in the ground, and they're fucking amazing. Now, they don't look like the monsters in the Hallow, but they're just as effective. They're absolutely insane. So original. They're such original monsters. And if you're like me, if you like monsters, if you're brought up on 50s, 60s, 70s horror films, you do like monsters. I don't believe you if you don't. And I love fucking monster movies. I love monster movies that are aimed at adults. I can't stand when there's fucking new monster film and it comes at PG. Yes, kids deserve monsters as well, don't get me wrong, but so do grown-ups. And we're still alive, and we're the ones that are paying for the fucking cinema tickets. Give us some fucking monsters, you directors. But yeah, both movies, The Hallow and Digging Up the Marrow, are not massively popular films. There's a lot of you that probably won't have seen them. Oh yeah, double recommendation there. At number 15, I've got, again, two movies smushed into the same position because I can't choose between them. And again, like a lot of these movies are on the bottom half of this top 20 list. I like them all for different reasons. I like them all. I couldn't really pick a favourite from the lower 10, if that makes any sense. Anyway, number 15, Wakewood from 2009 and Lamb from 2021. Again, folk based horror in as much as it's set on farms. Wakewood is British. It's a Hammer movie, actually, and funny that it's a Hammer movie. It's the first Hammer movie that they made in 30 years, and it reminds me of that vibe of, if you know your Hammer films, that vibe of Plague of the Zombies and The Reptile, and also obviously The Wicker Man. There's a lot of that in Wakewood, and it's a remote town. And it's a pagan ritual that allows the bereaved an extra 3 days with their loved one. If their loved one's fresh, they get another 3 days with them. If the loved one's not so fresh and they've been lying to the people that conduct this ceremony, then bad things happen. And bad things do happen in this one. And all the better for it. And it's good. It's gutsy. It's an 18 certificate, for God's sake. Like pretty much all of these movies, 18 certificates. And Timothy Spall is in it, who's always brilliant. And Aidan Gillen is also in it, who's also brilliant. And if you get Aidan Gillen and Timothy Spall in a movie, any movie, it's better. They just make films better. But together, it's a joy to watch. It's got a great vibe. It looks like a Hammer film, and I'm not going to give anything away, but it's very satisfying the way that it all comes complete about circle at the end, like a proper horror film should be, especially a pagan horror film. I don't want any open-ended. I want a fucking closure. Lamb, on the other hand, is set in Sweden, I think it is. Have I got it right? In Sweden? Don't know. But I fell in love with Lamb, and I knew nothing about it going in. Right now, it's 2021, so you've had 4 years to probably... Hello, next door's dog's just coming to visit me. Hello there. That's her. She's a pug, and she makes funny noises. I'm just doing a podcast, darling. I'll be with you in a second. Bless her. Lamb, yeah, it's set in Sweden. I think it's Sweden or Norway. But a farming couple, and a sheep gives birth to a lamb that I think they've either lost a child or they can't conceive. I think they lost a child. And they keep this lamb anyway and look after the lamb. And you don't see anything apart from the lamb's head, and they're feeding it milk and stuff like that. And then as the movie progresses, there's a reveal that is one of my favourite what the fuck moments ever. And in case you haven't heard of the movie, or you haven't seen it, or you know nothing about it, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I will just say that it is beautiful, monstrous, and absolutely adorable. It's what cinema was made for. Apart from the fact that wherever this is set in Scandinavia, the scenery, the cinematography is absolutely amazing. You're having a good sniff around you, aren't you? It's been ignored, this one. And rightly so. That's what you do when you leave your front door open around here to do a podcast. There's all sorts walks in and out. Hopefully it's just animals. She's still here, sniffling and grunting. Yeah, but Lamb, it reminds me a little bit of God, she sounds like she's fucking dying. You all right? But it reminds me a little bit of when Lamb turns around, and it's a great story. It's very slow, it's gentle until it gets going, and then it's not gentle. But it's very, very somnambulistic. And then when it gets going, there's a really big revenge thing. And the best bit of Lamb is when the father of the lamb reveals itself. And it's a fantastic looking creation that reminds me a lot of Sexy Beast. That's all I'm going to say. But it gives nothing away. There's something happens in this movie that you want to stick around for, even if you're feeling a little bit of like, oh, it's been 15 minutes and nothing's happened and no one's shot any guns at anyone. It's not that kind of film, but it's beautiful, and I really recommend it. That was number 15. At number 14, another contentious one that's definitely not going to sit well with everyone, especially those of a nervous disposition or are squeamish. And it is Human Centipede 2 from 2015. Now, I'd seen Human Centipede 2 and I'd seen a cut one, the same as everyone else did. It's black and white. I figured it's black and white because it's pretty gory. They made it in black and white, a bit like the Kill Bill scene with all of the slashing and sword fighting and stuff. And then you realise that it's cut. There's extra scenes, and they filmed it in colour. Well, that's me. I'm just like, I can't do anything else in my life until I track down a colour version of Kill Bill, but especially of Human Centipede 2. What the fuck how could this be worse than the black and white one? And emotional. It's glorious. It's glorious. If you're a sick puppy like me, it's glorious. It's absolutely disgraceful. It's so over the top. The Human Centipede was over the top. Human Centipede 3 was fun, and that was over the top. But nothing compared to Human Centipede 2. It's a director, Tom Six, who is very sick. He's on fire. And it's so sick and twisted. I love the fella for it. I just love that he would take a movie there. There's a guy who plays the main character called Dieter Laser, or Laser, and I've never seen anyone more perfectly cast in a role in a horror film in my life. He is born to play this role. You know, it's a very modest movie. You know, I don't know what else he's been in, but he's got such an incredible face. Just wonderful. I just want to be friends with this fella. And he's this guy he's a fucked up guy who works as night security, and you know, he wanks with sandpaper. That's who he is. And but he's a huge fan of Human Centipede 1, and he wants to recreate the Centipede using more people and with far less medical skills. So he joins all of these people together. I don't know how many. He's only a little fella as well, so he manages to kidnap anyway all of these fucking mental characters, and then put them together using gaffer tape and a stapler. And it's so. I'm just going to say if this is still on. It's so disgusting. And there's loads of really weird things. There's again, describing these things is worse than when you see them. There's a bit where someone gives birth in a car and then takes the baby and puts it under the pedal and stamps down on the pedal, on the accelerator, crushing the baby's head. And I think then the car crashes into a wall or something like that. There's loads of little set pieces like that are all really weird and you know, almost comical because they're so ridiculous. But what's not ridiculous is the detail in the colour version of the Human Centipede itself. And I won't go too much into it. I hope no one's eaten. Fucking hell. Some of you might never eat again. So I'll keep it brief, and I will say that you've never seen browns and reds look more violent in your life. I'll leave it at there. I'll leave it at that. But Human Centipede 2 from 2015. Check the colour version only, and the colour version is uncut. The black and white version has a few cuts. If you know me and you know my taste, I hate movies that are cut. There was a movie that I tried to see the other week. I can't remember what it was anyway. And it was cut. Why do they cut movies in this day and age? Why do they do it? Oh, I'll never understand. Number 13 on my list is The Void from 2016. Now, The Void is a weird one. I love my Lovecraft. I love Lovecraft-esque, Lovecraftian, as they're called, movies. Like tentacled ancient gods who are waiting to come back to claim the earth as their own. I love that whole thing. It's always set in you know, somewhere like a seaside town or like a deep in the countryside and stuff like that. And the ancient gods that are older than life itself. But The Void is a very confusing film, I have to say. And it came from nowhere. I hadn't really expected anything from this movie and put it on. Someone said it was good. Blew me away. A local sheriff brings a victim of a mysterious attack to hospital where they get trapped with an assortment of characters while a masked murderous cult outside stop them from leaving. And that was what my notes said, and it's true. There's a bunch of people trapped in a hospital, and there's a ring of these cultish people with like triangular things on their faces that if anyone gets out of the hospital, they just kill them, so no one can leave the hospital. And while they're in the hospital, everything suddenly goes berserk. And it's all about, you know, portals into nether worlds, you know, spew forth demons, and this crazy monster made up of loads of different things. The brilliant thing about The Void is, and I've seen it a few times and I still can't remember what happens because it's so mental, and you don't care about what the story is or how much sense it's supposed to make. You buy the premise, you buy the cast, and then you just go with it because it doesn't give you any time to think about, hang on a second, fucking hell, what's that? And Lovecraft should be confusing. I mean, the whole thing about H.P. Lovecraft is it's about, you know, as Metallica immortalized in their song, it's about things that should not be. It should not make sense either. But it's so chaotic and so confusing that it just rabbits along right until the end where you just go, that was good. And it's really gory, some great gore set pieces, and their practical effects. There's no CGI in this film. Another theme that you'll see going through all of these films, actually. But the best bit is where the monsters start showing up at the hospital. And these monsters are fucked. Honestly, they're so fucked. The whole thing is, it's just got a lovely nightmarish quality and a dreamlike quality, actually. When you say to someone, oh, watch this movie, what's it about? Just watch it. Figure it out for yourself. The Void is one of them, and that's at number 13. At number 12, a film that I fucking hated when I first saw it. I was actively telling people, don't watch this. And it was all because of the ending. And it is, of course, The Mist from 2007. The Mist is adapted from a short story by Stephen King about people being trapped in a supermarket, and there's a mist that's gathered outside, and within this mist there are monsters. There are monsters, and they're great monsters. They've got from just bug things, just flying bugs with fucked up faces, to spiders with skulls and huge tentacled things and stuff with spikes on it. I love things about people trapped somewhere. There's a couple of films I've noticed on this list of people trapped in a situation, much like The Void, trapped in a hospital. This one, they're trapped in a supermarket, and that's when the characters start fleshing themselves out. And there's some great characters here. There's a crazy religious woman, and as the film gets more and more desperate, and the people inside start thinking that they're probably not going to survive, they start going towards this religious woman, and she is siding them up against the people who are non-religious, normal people who are trying to actually do something. It's really interesting. There's a great cast. The effects, again, all practical effects, really nice looking blood as well. I remember being really satisfied. This film's got a real 80s vibe about it in the practical effects and the build-up of the characters, and the characters are really over the top. So it's a film that's supposed to be real. And the best bit is the bit that I fucking hated when I first saw it, and it's the ending. Now, I won't tell you what happens at the end, but suffice it to say that people get away from and it's all the people that you like, and they manage to get away in a car, and as they're getting away, they just see this huge, lumbering, multi-legged, tentacled fucking monster thing with tons of other little monsters all over it, and that's not the ending. That's just, they realise those things at the supermarket were fucking insects. This thing is big. The ending is the ultimate feel-bad ending. It's so fucking dark, and I won't spoil it for you, but I will absolutely recommend it for you. The Mist from 2007. Number 11, I've got another doubler. Again, two films that really remind me of each other. The Ritual from 2017 and The Descent from 2005. Again, folk horror in the fact that it's evil applying itself to an everyday situation, where it makes the everyday situation 10 times more scary, where it probably wouldn't have seemed scary. In The Ritual, The Ritual's a weird one. It's a movie about guilt, and the main character, or one of the main characters, has watched himself see his friend. There's a hold up on a supermarket, and his friend is being killed, and he's watched it and he hasn't done anything. So he's living with that guilt, and as an anniversary thing, him and his mates all get together and they go for a holiday, obviously without the guy who's died. So there's this underlying theme of guilt and retribution. But there these get together in Sweden, and there's these forest gods in the forest in Sweden, and there's this big Wendigo type monster who is one of the best looking monsters I've ever seen. It's a great cast, it's great banter, and it's they slowly on this holiday realise that they're totally out of their depth, and whatever's happening they can't get away from. There's some really, really cool. I don't know why I've written so many fucking weird notes for this one, but I'm not going to ignore every single one of them. But there's a brilliant monster in this, and there's some brilliant bits where it's got a very Blair Witchy kind of thing about it. But they see people go missing and then their body turns up, ripped apart, high up in the trees. And it's one of those that, right, something big has put this body up, has tore it up and put it up there for everyone to find out. What the fuck is it? And when this thing finally reveals itself, oh my God, it's a... I'll put here, the final reveal of the creature is a sum of human and skeletal parts, a stag monster. And that doesn't even do it justice. But yeah, it is this ridiculous looking thing with fucking arms out of its face. And it's really big. And the ritual monster is brilliant. If you like monsters, you'll love the ritual monster. The Descent is a bit more, it's more popular. I don't know if it's more well-loved, but it's more popular. And it's a group of friends exploring caves in the Appalachian Mountains and hunted by albino cave dwellers. And it's got great gore. It's very claustrophobic. It's got fantastic looking monsters. Fantastic looking. These things look like they've lived in the caves their whole life. They're bald, slimy, blind. They go on sound, and one by one they pick off these girls at a cave. It's one of those movies where if you're a little bit claustrophobic, it's definitely going to work better. I mean, my idea of being trapped in a, going through them, people go to tiny little caves, and it's like, oh, fucking nothing in the world would make me want to do that. But the fact that there's fucking monsters down there that know the caves way better than you do, that would put me off as well. But these things work on smell and sound, and they're really, really scary. So there you go. The Descent, it's great. Scary, cave-dwelling, goblin things. And the Ritual, huge, big Wendigo monster with arms sticking out of its face who likes to put dead bodies in trees. Into the top 10. Another cup of tea. Into the top 10 we go. And at number 10, again, technically a sci-fi movie, but there's monsters. So it's a horror film as far as I'm concerned. From 2006, Slither. No, Slither is obviously a paean to 50s sci-fi movies. And then this one is an alien plague that lands in a small backwoods American town and turns people into mutants. As far as I'm concerned, that's all I need to know about a film. Aliens land, they turn people into mutants, and there's gore. I mean, what could go wrong? And in Slither, nothing. It's such a celebration of those 50s films that, if it wasn't full of some of the best practical effects I've ever seen, I'd still recommend it. The fact of the matter is, it's just so fucking over the top. It's so weird. And Michael Rooker's in it. And Michael Rooker is another one of those actors that just makes things better by just being there. It's a great cast. It's a really great cast. There's a lovely relationship between Michael Rooker's wife. Obviously, he's turning gradually into a monster, and she used to be the old love interest of the local sheriff, and they're kind of fighting this alien plague together, and that's a nice little angle. And there's a great scene where there's a woman in a barn who just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it turns out that she's a tiny little head on this massive round body, and she's just full of these alien eels, like weird little slimy things. It's just so fucking over the top. You'll be cheering. Your popcorn will be in the air. It's definitely one of those films where you get your friends round to watch over a couple of beers and a pizza. And the best bit is definitely Michael Rooker's transformation into this monster, which starts as a little kind of mark on his head, and a couple of weird hairs sprouting out somewhere, and just goes fucking insane. It's so much fun. Slither at my number 10. At number 9, the second movie by Demian Rugner, When Evil Lurks, from 2023. Now, I'm trying to get everyone I know to watch this movie, and I realise that people don't like subtitles. Now, thing is with Demian Rugner's movies, they're not crazy hyperactive, so the subtitles don't bother you. There's a lot of movies I love, but you've got to watch it once for the visuals and watch it once to read what the fuck's going on. And they're so fast. This movie has just got a dark vibe. It's about demonic possession in a small Spanish village. And the best thing about it, deals with demonic possession, but it doesn't take anything from The Exorcist. Now, like I said, Demian Rugner likes to reinvent horror. He gives you new horror riffs, things that you haven't seen before. and he doesn't steal from the films that everybody else steals from. Like The Exorcist. If you're going to do a movie about demons and you don't feature any Exorcist tropes, then you're good. You're good. It's such a darkness and such a weird vibe about this movie that when the set pieces hit you, you don't see them coming. And fuck me, it's insane. It's insane. I will say that this film is a 15 certificate. And when you watch it, there's no way. How the fuck this could be a 15 certificate, I do not know. I do not know. Same as Brightburn was a 15, although I think they turned it into 18. I think Brightburn's on here somewhere. It opens up as a fella who's been possessed by a demon, and they've just turned into this huge, bloated, disgusting, repulsive, postulating thing that I swear you can smell it when you see it on the screen. You can smell this fucking thing. It's just so inventive. So inventive. It's so new. After all these years of horror, people are still coming up with something new. I love them. Love them, love them, love them. There's a great axe murder that you will not see coming that will take your face off, quite literally. The way that he sets up his set pieces are so brilliant. And the best bit in the film is the dog scene. Now, if anyone's seen this movie, you'll know what the dog scene is. If you've read about it, they've mentioned the dog scene. But it's something that you never think is going to happen in a film. In a 15 certificate film, doesn't even make sense. But I can only imagine that the board of certification didn't see the film because they had fucking subtitles. So they just went, to 15. There you go, demonic possession. But there's a dog scene in there that will stick with you for the rest of your life. You will not believe it. And some of you will be screaming, some of you will be cheering, but you'll all be affected deeply by this. It's just fucking beautiful in how fucked up it is. And that's my number 9. At number 8, a recent film from 2024, The Substance. Now, I know The Substance hasn't clicked with everyone, but I fucking love The Substance. It's Dennis Quaid he's amazing in it. Demi Moore, arguably a career best performance. The Substance, if you don't know, or you've been living under some kind of large rock-like object, like a rock, it's a black market drug that helps an aging TV star to become beautiful and young again. This is all about, the obsession that Hollywood have with, I love you, you're perfect, now get me a younger version, kind of conveyor belt mentality. But Demi Moore, career best, she takes this drug, and this younger person, she doesn't turn into a younger person, the younger person bursts out of her back. It's so over the top. I think people like the movie because an aging TV starlet who's past her prime offered a drug that will get her work from the same TV execs that are saying that she's over the hill. It's a good story. It's a sort of thing that I can see it being attractive. People are put off by the ending. I love this movie because of the ending. Just when you think, it's a horror film about a younger girl grows out of this woman's back. There's not a lot of common sense in it, but people think that the ending's too over the top. I'm like, fuck you. This movie is too over the top. That's why it's amazing. But the final transformation, the best bit of the movie, it's just Demi Moore turns into this thing that doesn't look like very much like Demi Moore. Demi Moore is amazing in this, by the way, and she looks the best she's ever looked as far as I'm concerned. But she's overused this drug. I think you can only use it for a week, and then you've got to go back to being the old you, and she decides to use it for longer than a week, and everything starts going wrong. But she transforms into this thing as just this lumpy monster. The best thing about this lumpy monster is she's got the girl's face on her back, just frozen in this scream of terror. And this thing's just blah, 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 on the stage in front of all of these people. And then out of its eyeball socket, there's a tit that just splurges out and comes out on this big sinew. Oh, it's glorious. It's so over the top. How could you not love it? How could you consider this movie to be spoiled by the ending when the ending is the movie? But anyway, that I fucking loved The Substance. I thought it was the best film apart from When Evil Lurks, 2023. Best horror movies in recent memory, and I'm pretty picky. But yeah. There's a scene where Dennis Quaid is eating prawns just to show how disgusting a Hollywood film exec can be. And it's so gross. That's beautiful, beautiful. The Substance, check it out if you haven't already, which you probably have. Number 7, another doubler, because I couldn't choose. Cloverfield from 2008, and as I mentioned earlier, Brightburn from 2019. Monsters, Brightburn. All right, we'll start with Brightburn. It's about this kid who lands, much like Superman, and a family bring up this kid, and he grows up, has superpowers, but doesn't use his superpowers for good. That's when it goes from being a sci-fi movie to a horror film, as far as I'm concerned. If Superman was a cunt, and just the things he does to people. He's so cruel, this little kid. He's so cruel. There's a bit where he lasers through this fella's face and out the back of his head. There's a bit where there's an attack on this diner where there's a woman in there, and he smashed all the glass, and the glasses went in her eyeball, and she's pulling the glass slowly out of her eyeball, and all this gloop's dripping down. And this was a 15 certificate, which I think was changed to an 18 certificate. Again, what is going on with these censors these days? They can't fucking make their mind up. But the best bit of Brightburn is there's a car crash where this guy falls down a ravine, and then the camera reveals that the guy's still alive. He's just bashed against his steering wheel, and when he lifts his head, his lower jaw just falls off. There's just this kind of noise. Brilliant. Oh, that's just inspired. So ridiculously over the top. It's a great film as well. I love Brightburn. Hoping for a sequel. Cloverfield. I think I've told you my Cloverfield story, but I went to see Cloverfield on Broadway, on the street where this thing is kind of the main part of the movie set, where the monster starts attacking. I don't know if you know Cloverfield. It's a monster that comes out of the sky. It's all done in found footage as well, which is really good, because I don't like found footage movies very much, but I really like this one. It's a very attractive cast, and it's New York, it's Broadway, it looks great. But I went to see the movie in Broadway, and it was off Broadway, and they let you out of this movie. They wouldn't let you through the front door where you came in. They let you out through the back door, and you had to go through all these tunnels to get out. I'm thinking, it's a bit weird, but it lets you out on the street where this thing takes place. And it was such a cool thing. Only in New York would they make that much effort to entertain you. But yeah, there's a monster that attacks New York, and the first thing you see, everyone's having a party, and there's this mayhem and cars getting flying, and then all of a sudden the Statue of Liberty's head comes flying down the street, bashes against everything it touches, comes to a screeching, spark-fueled halt, and it's just one of those classic horror science fiction film moments that never gets bettered. It's only as good as that. King Kong on the Empire State Building, and the Statue of Liberty's head flying down Broadway, just as good. The Cloverfield monster was really, really original at the time, because, monsters had a Geiger kind of look everyone was going for. And this one just looked like nothing you'd ever seen. It's like this weird, spindly thing with lungs on its face. And then after that, everyone's monster looked like the Cloverfield monster. And I'm like, it kind of spoils the Cloverfield monster because it's that generic kind of gawpy kind of look. But this monster's very awkward looking, and it pounces down the street, almost knocks buildings over because it's a little bit awkward with its elbow. But it's a brilliant film. It's absolutely, there's loads of other little things. There's these monsters that came with it, much like The Mist. There's the monster, and then there's the monsters that kind of are parasitic, to the host, that are also great little monsters in their own right. But Cloverfield, just a great time. Great time. Number 6. Oh, getting into the good stuff now. It's all been good stuff, but getting into the good stuff, as in I'm nearly done, and my head has lasted the length of a podcast. I didn't think I'd make it today, but I'm good. It's all mind over matter. Your brain works for you, not the other way around. And I've told my brain today I'm in charge, and we're doing this. And I've done a few things today that I didn't think I was going to do. I'm very happy with my progress today. So let that be a lesson to you all. You are in charge, not your mind. Number 6, Switchblade Romance from 2003. I think this is the oldest movie in this list. 2003. And it was the first of the French invasion horror films. I remember seeing this and just going, it was called Haute Tension when I saw it, which in brackets, in English, high tension. and then they changed it to Switchblade Romance. I hope that person that changed this title isn't working anymore. That's all I can say. But this is when the French took over from the Japanese, and I was just like, if the French can keep this up, then we're in good shape. And they did, as you'll see. There's a few French films in this list, especially number one is a French film. You can probably guess what that is now. But the director, Alexandre Aja, just had huge high hopes that this person was going to just come and just stamp all over horror and revolutionize it. And he didn't. He made a bunch of horror movies for Hollywood. He made one about an alligator under the water in New Orleans in a flood that was all right. He did a remake of Hills Have Eyes, which was good, but nothing compared to Switchblade Romance or Haute Tension, which is his absolute masterpiece. It is two girls go and visit one of the girls' parents' house, and they're being spied on by a killer, and the killer proceeds to kill everyone and kills them in really, really weird, fairly upsetting ways. Now, this is a movie that does not pull any punches. This guy wanted attention, and he got it. High attention. That's a fucking dreadful one, sorry. But the first time you see this killer is just this really gross, slimy old dude who's being filleted by a decapitated head. That's the first time you see him, and he kind of maintains that level of taste. There's some really brilliant set pieces. Again, all practical effects, really good gore. Really good. I don't want to spoil it because a lot of the kills here are really unexpected, but there's one where the one girl is trapped in a cupboard while the killer is killing the mother. And just when you think the mom's dead, she's still alive. And you come, it's just fucking, it's so disturbing. But the best bit is the father gets his head jammed between the railings of a staircase, and the killer gets this huge, hefty fucking bookcase or something and just pushes it and decapitates the father. And it's just, the blood's great, nice and dark and red and squirting all over the place. It's proper Grand Guignol. Utterly recommended to anyone if you're a little bit of a lover of cruel gore. It's very cruel. There's a lot of cruelty in this movie, so it's I'm smiling while I'm talking about it, but it's over the top. It's a fucking classic. And number 5, I have got Possessor from 2020, uncut version only. There's 2 versions. Why they would cut it, I do not know. The uncut version is got actual erect penises in it, which I can see why. So fucking hell, it's 2025, for fuck's sake. And also some of the gore lasts a lot longer. But it's made by Brandon Cronenberg, which is David Cronenberg's son. Now, when your dad's Dave Cronenberg, man, you've got to be brave to get into horror. But to get into body horror, oh my God, just the balls on him, just absolute full mark. Fair play, mate. But the fact that you can make movies that challenge and equal your father, and I reckon Brandon Cronenberg right now is as good as David Cronenberg ever was. I think, all right, he also did Infinity Pool, which is good and is up there with Cronenberg's good movies, like, is it Dead Ringers, the one with Jeremy Irons? Stuff like that. But David Cronenberg's done Scanners and Videodrome. But I would say that Possessor is up there with Scanners and Videodrome. And I can't believe that I'm saying that, but it's true. It's that good. It's set in the near future, and there've been technology developed that lets people enter other people's brain and use the host as an assassin. Now, this is full-blown, full-bodied, full-straight, full-fat horror for grown-ups. This isn't a movie for kids. It's an 18 certificate for a reason, and it is fucking so over the top, but it's really well acted. It's a great cast, great premise. The story's great. The relationship between the people are great. But the gore is fucking wonderful. And the best bit of it is Sean Bean is in it. Sean Bean plays a proper cunt. He's just horrible, and he's the father of the girl. There's a bloke there who's got one of these people teleported into his brain, trapped in there. Oh, it gets really interesting. Very Cronenbergian, obviously. But Sean Bean is attacked by the son, who is one of the main fellas from Game of Thrones. I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know the character, but you don't recognize the guy. But anyway, Sean Bean is attacked by this guy, and the best bit is this attack, which is one of the things that was cut. But the uncut version lasts a lot longer. The attack lasts a lot longer, and it is so fucking fun and so over the top and so violent and so gross. And it's just when you think he's done, he's not. He's still more to go. I won't say anything more than that. But if you like your movies over the top and very serious, but you know where it goes there, the gore, the erect penises, it's all good. And number 4, we're coming up to the top 4. I can't believe we're nearly there. This has been my big thing for the day, getting this done, and we're nearly there. Today can't go wrong now. Perfect. Number 4, Antlers from 2021. Now, Antlers, I was waiting for Antlers for months. It was advertised as coming out. They couldn't find a distributor for it. It got bigged up, and then all of the hype died, and then it just limped out on one Friday afternoon. I might remember just watching it and just thinking it can't live up to the hype, and it really did. It's such a fucking fantastic film. It's very bleak. There's no humour. It's very cruel. There's no relief in this movie at all. It is tension, and it just stays there and ramps up until the end. It's about a young boy called Lucas who's taking care of his brother and father who've been infected by a Wendigo. I believe it's set in Canada, but there's a teacher of Lucas who's concerned about his welfare, which means that there's social workers and head teachers going around the house. Lucas is looking after his father, who's slowly transforming into a Wendigo. They're locked in the basement, and everyone that goes round and tries to find how Lucas is, what's going on with the father, ends up finding their way to the basement and get there just desserts by this fucking crazy monster thing that's happening. It's about kids, and there's a kid down there, and it's it just pulls at your heart. It's just so involving, It really pulls you in, even though it's a crazy over-the-top horror. It really pulls you in, and the cast is fucking fantastic. It's practical effects again. The practical effects, so you don't get pulled out of the movie by this really shit-looking fucking computer graphic. But the best bit is the father's transformation. It's so fucking beautiful the way that it's done. It's so dark and it's so angry and violent, and it's great. And there's another great scene where the little kid Lucas, who's amazing, this kid, the actor is so great, and he's getting bullied by these fucking guys, and you hate the main bully. And if you're like me, you would like bullies to be attacked and ripped apart by Wendigo type monsters. That's exactly what happens. And I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just luring you in to enjoy it even more. And number 3, Bone Tomahawk from 2015. Now, Bone Tomahawk got me because I didn't know anything about it. I saw the name, I like Kurt Russell, he's in it. I thought, oh, great, cowboy film, I'll watch that. And it said violent or something. There's nothing more satisfying for me than a violent cowboy movie, especially when it's got people. Kurt Russell, I mean, apart from Sam Elliott, Kurt Russell is probably the guy that plays Western characters better than anyone. I don't know if you know much about Bone Tomahawk. If there's anyone out there that doesn't know anything about Bone Tomahawk, don't read anything about it, just go and watch it. The less you know, the better it is. I thought it was just a movie where someone's wife's gone missing and there's a posse went out into the wild to find her. The characters are great. The script is great. And it just keeps it bubbling along as this really good, very gritty cowboy film, when the violence erupts, it's messy and it's nasty like it would have been in the time. I didn't know anything about it, and then it fucking switches into a different kind of film. It fucked me up. I couldn't stop talking about this. I bored people shitless for about a year after seeing this. You've got to watch Bone Tomahawk. You've got to watch Bone Tomahawk. I'm not going to tell you. If there's anyone out there that doesn't know, then I won't tell you for that one. For you. I want you to watch this. But I can't say much about this without giving it away. But the best bit, I can't even tell you the best bit. The best bit is when they're all locked up in, I'm going to try and keep this spoiler free. They're locked up in cages in a cave and a young boy in there is brought out, done away with in front of everyone. I think that I've kept that relatively spoiler free. But fuck me, when this thing turns into horror, it fucking turns into horror, all right. It's that's one of the most shocking scenes I've ever seen in my life. It really is. I wasn't expecting it. It happens, and the camera doesn't cut away. It wants you to see. It's an amazing reveal. It's so clever. I'll say nothing else, and I'll move on to my number 2. And at number 2 from 2018, Hereditary. Now, a lot of people like Midsommar, which by the same director. Midsommar better. I don't understand how Midsommar can even compete with Hereditary. I thought Midsommar was fairly boring, quite uneventful, looked nice when it gets going, it's really good, but there's not a sense of dread. I don't get the love for Midsommar, and I don't get the apathy for Hereditary, which I think is one of the greatest horror movies since The Exorcist. I think there's so much darkness and evil, and there's no jump scares. It's all played really, there's stuff going on like in the corner of the screen. So you're not drawn to the corner of the screen. Chances are you don't see it. If you do see it, it's just something happens and you're like, the fuck was that? It keeps you on edge for the whole fucking movie. Toni Collette, another career best performance. She's utterly amazing. It's about living with grief. There's a dark secret in the family and she's gradually going mental. And then there's a point where she goes from going gradually mental to over to the dark side. And she's just one of the greatest performances you'll ever see in any movie, I think, is her performance in this. It's amazing. The whole family is amazing. It's got a really nice vibe. There's a weird darkness. It's genuinely scary and uncomfortable. And obviously, if you don't know anything about it, there's a beheading scene that is just you don't see it coming. There's something happens in a party and it ramps up in tension and panic, and then boom, this happens, and fuck me. It's like, if you know what I'm talking about, it still comes as a shock. Every time I see it, it still comes as like, whoa, Christ almighty, and the noise. But the best bit, I have to say, is Toni Collette's transformation into a demonic entity which ramps up the terror. She's levitating. She's crawling across the ceiling rather. She just gets really fucking dark. And then ultimately she's there in the air with a piano wire round her neck, sawing off her own head. It's up there with The Exorcist as far as I'm concerned, with keeping up the tension, and then the reveal is worth the tension, which is, again, very rare in horror. It's very rare that a horror film can maintain such a dark vibe and still be a commercial success. It was a great day when this film came out. I just thought, you know what, horror is in very good hands. And as you've seen by this list, horror in this century has been in very, very good hands. And I think horror films are going to go from strength to strength. And I love the fact that paranormal films are starting to do new things. Folk horror's got a nice place in the horror patchwork. But number one, there can be only one best horror film of the 21st century from 2008, and that is Martyrs. Martyrs, what can I say about Martyrs? It's up there for me with The Exorcist as one of the greatest horror films ever made, also by a director who didn't want to make a horror film, who wasn't even into horror films. And this is the 2008 version, not to be confused with the American remake from 2015, which has apparently got a happy ending. Now, I know Americans get it wrong when they do their remakes of great European films, but fuck me, wrong in a bit. But the director, Pascal Laugier, like I said, didn't want to make a horror film. It starts out as a revenge film, a nice gore, it's, a good shoot 'em up kind of film. And then suddenly, the person, again, I'm not going to give it too much away. There's a character brilliantly played by Mylene Japanois, who hasn't done as much as I think she should do. She's amazing, fantastic looking, really great. She just puts herself into the role, hook, line and sinker, 100%. But just when you think it's a revenge movie, someone's getting shot, there's a family getting blown away and stuff, and in good French Grand Guignol horror as well, proper violence. This girl sees this weird monster thing that starts to attack her. And this thing is fucking fast and vicious. And just when you think you know where the movie's going, this happens. And then just when you think, oh, it's changed again, it changes. It goes into a completely different film. By the end of it, you will be gasping for breath. If you get to the end of it, I mean, I've watched this a couple of times. It gets harder to watch every time you watch it. It's a grueling film. It's so cruel. It's so ridiculously over the top, but done in a way that's almost tasteful. Tasteful's not the word to describe Martyrs, but right up until the end, where it leaves you done, spent, absolutely finished off. It's not a movie to be enjoyed, but I don't think horror movies should just be enjoyed. I think horror movies should be endured. That's the whole thing about horror movies. They should be scary. Roller coasters should make you think that you're going to die, and then you don't die. Oh, surely that's the thrill. The violence is brutal in this thing. No two ways about it. It's so cruel. It's so brutal. It's hard to watch, but there's a purpose behind it, which doesn't make it any easier to watch. Trust me. And the best bit, I've written down here, the best bit is Mylene Japanois encounters a terrifying mutated humanoid thing during a violent house rampage. That was the best bit, I think, because it made you realise, we're not watching that kind of movie anymore. We're watching a different movie, like there's a monster in it now. But there's this other bit where this woman turns up and she's got this metal contraption screwed onto her head. And they put her in, and she's all sliced up, and they put her in the bath, and it's just so painful, and they pull this thing off her, and it's just so fucking over the top. There's nothing I can say about Martyrs that I haven't said a billion times, that to everyone, I'll be repeating myself terrible, but this is the movie that I insist everyone watches. And I used to say, when you watch it, take a picture of your face at the end of the film, and people used to do it, and always be the same expression. Tend to be favourable, but a few people have got back in touch and went, you fucking bastard, why'd you make me watch that? And it is, if you want a horror film to take you there, to actually horrify you, then Martyrs is the one. You will not come out of Martyrs the same person as you were when you went in. But there you go. That's my top 20 of the 21st century. I have enjoyed this. I hope you have. Happy hunting. If there's any horror films I've missed out, please let me know. I'm always on the search for great horror movies that I might have missed or I might have watched when I was drunk. And now I don't really get drunk anymore. I can watch these movies like seeing a film the first time. Second time. But thank you very much. This has been fun. It's been great. I'm glad I powered through. You can get through anything. Your mind works for you and not the other way around. Thank you. This has been me. It's been you. It's been horrible. Thank you.